Dear listeners and friends, many cancers are diagnosed as inoperable because the cancerous tumors hide in vulnerable, life-threatening locations, making removal potentially more harmful. Today, a Chinese company has solved this problem. Let's discuss this new technology.
Today, we're talking about a medical innovation that honestly sounds like it was pulled straight out of a sci-fi movie. It's an incredible story about a tiny, tiny needle, a really clever new technique, and what could be a massive leap forward in how we fight cancer. So, let's just start with the problem itself, a question that surgeons have been wrestling with forever. What do you do when a cancerous tumor is hiding in a place that's so delicate, so essential to life, that trying to cut it out could cause even more harm? You know, for some people, this is a devastating reality. Their tumors are labeled inoperable. And it's not because they can't be found, but because they are literally wrapped around the most critical infrastructure in the human body. We're talking about surgical no-go zones. And these are some seriously high-stakes locations. Imagine a tumor right up against the portal vein, which is the main blood supply to the liver, or wrapped around the super delicate bile duct, or even embedded deep inside the pancreas. In places like these, one wrong move with a scalpel, well, it could damage healthy, essential tissue beyond repair. For a long time, the options for patients in this situation were tragically limited. But what if you could take the scalpel out of the equation entirely? What if a tool existed that could just redefine what inoperable even means? The source material for this explainer puts it in a pretty epic way, saying, "A divine weapon was born." And here's that weapon. It's not some huge, intimidating machine. It's an incredibly precise instrument that's only 7 millimeters wide. I mean, that's smaller than the width of a normal pencil. It's tiny. This is the Nano-Knife. It was developed by a company in Ningbo, China, and it is not a knife in any way you'd imagine. See, it doesn't cut, it doesn't burn, it does something way, way more sophisticated. So what is this Nano-Knife technology, really? Well, at its core, it's a surgical approach that uses these super-targeted, high-voltage electrical pulses to go after cancer cells and destroy them, all while leaving the healthy stuff around them completely alone. Okay, now this is where it gets really, really cool. The Nano-Knife doesn't poison the cancer, it doesn't burn it away, it does something much smarter. It basically tricks the cancer cells into destroying themselves. It opens what's being called a suicide door for cancer. Let's break down exactly how it pulls that off. So it's basically a 4-step mission. First, that little 7-millimeter needle is guided right into the heart of the tumor. Then, step 2, it releases a series of super short, high-voltage electrical pulses. Third, and this is the magic part, those pulses punch billions of permanent nanoscale holes in the membranes of the cancer cells. And that's what opens that suicide door. It triggers a natural process that tells the cells to just self-destruct. So what's the biggest takeaway here? The most revolutionary thing about this whole method is its unbelievable precision. By only targeting the membranes of the cancer cells, it leaves all the healthy stuff, the veins, the nerves, the organs, completely unharmed. This is truly a new era of surgical precision. Let's just put it side by side. With traditional methods, you've got a high risk of collateral damage. With the Nano-Knife procedure, vital blood vessels, delicate nerves, and important organs are kept completely safe and functional. The bottom line is, it gets rid of the cancer without destroying the whole neighborhood. And what that means for patients is that those forbidden zones we were talking about before, well, they might not be off limits anymore. Tumors that were once considered untouchable now really have nowhere left to hide, and that offers a whole new level of hope to people who might have had none before. But the story of this little 7-millimeter needle, it doesn't stop in the operating room. It's also making huge waves in the world of global medical technology because it's shattering a monopoly that's been in place for a long, long time. You see, for the last 10 years or so, this kind of advanced Nano-Knife technology was exclusively made by companies in the US and Europe. That meant they controlled everything, the access, the cost, all of it. But that's not the case anymore. The development of this device by the company in Ningbo, which just got its first approval for market launch this November 2025, represents a huge shift in who controls this life-saving tech. To put it simply, this isn't just about advancing medical science. This achievement completely shatters a decade-long foreign technology monopoly. It signals that there's a new major player on the world stage for high-end medical devices, and that could eventually mean wider availability and maybe even lower costs for patients all over the world. Okay, so let's just quickly recap the big points. We've got a tiny 7 mm needle that's offering new hope for inoperable tumors. It uses electrical pulses to basically tell cancer cells to self-destruct, all while sparing healthy tissue. And on a global scale, it breaks a 10-year tech monopoly. It's a true game changer from every angle. This breakthrough is just absolutely remarkable. And it leaves you with this really powerful question for the future, right? If we can now go after once untouchable tumors with nanoscale precision, what other unbeatable medical challenges are we going to solve next?